I feel like this is legit just going to turn into like another love letter to another Broadway musical. Hey guys, what is the crack? How are you doing? Oh my god, it's been the longest time since I've sat down and done like face-to-face video, or like facing, you know what I mean, like a sit-down video, or a review for that matter of a show that I have seen. Before I get into this video, be sure to use your words, Sean. Be sure to follow me on social media, which I post down below. I can never remember if it goes this side or this side. Either way, it's going to be posted there for y'all to follow me. Today guys, I'm going to do a review of a musical that I've seen twice actually in the last month. The Prom. Right, let's talk about this musical. Okay, so I had heard of this musical previously. I knew it had done an out-of-town tryout in Atlanta, and I knew very little about it, excluding the content, like what the story was about, some of the cast in the show, as well as the creative team. That's all I knew about the show. Then the show was announced to go to Broadway. It was announced initially it was going to the Court Theatre, and now it's in the Longacre Theatre. And then the first preview came along, and I was like, you know what, let's just go to the first preview, let's give the show a shot. And oh my god, was I in for a treat. This show, for me, I have never gone to a show where I have, I believe, head over heels falling in love with it. And the reason I fell in love with it was because this show was so simple, so clever, so genuinely funny. The story was so well put together, and the score was just genuinely very, very good. And it's not often you have all those three aspects come together in such cohesive fashion. So I saw this show, the first preview, and I also saw the show last week with a couple of friends. I sat in the balcony of the Longacre Theatre. From the moment the overture started, I knew I was going to adore this show, because the show, first off, the score is so traditional, it just works perfectly. Now, the other thing I'll say about the score was that while overall I adore the score is by Matthew Schuyler, who also did Drowsy Chaperone, no, apologies, he also did Elf, as well as The Wedding Singer. Two shows I had not seen, but I've heard the score for Elf. He did the score, and I must say he pulled it out of the bag for this one. This entire score I'm in love with. I will say though, the only part of the score I'm not a fan of is the first two songs, which Changing Lives, the opening number, and the reprise of Changing Lives. They're the only, honestly, two songs I didn't really care for. I didn't think, especially as an opening number, Changing Lives was particularly strong, but it only gets better from there. Like, I am obsessed with the score. I love Dance With You, Tonight Belongs to You, which is the Act 1 closer. I love Zaz, which is like the Act 1 opener. I love Just Breathe. Love Thy Neighbour's fantastic. The Ladies Improving, right the way up until the final number, which is Time to Dance. And then I want to make a special note about one song in particular called Unruly Heart. Oh my god. There's very few times I've sat in a theatre and I've never been in, I don't cry. I rarely get close to tears. I might get, no apologies, I might get a bit teary-eyed, but I really don't cry when I see theatre. I don't. It's just, I've got a heart of stone. I'm a horrific person. But the only times I can recall ever becoming close to crying was Miss Saigon during Sun and Moon, that number, which always kills me, as well as the reprise of that. Lauren Lott's final performance as T Moon in Once on This Island, and during the number Unruly Heart, which is like the second last number of this musical. And both times I saw the show, I genuinely had tears in my eyes. Like, I was about to cry, but the horrific person inside me was like, don't cry. So I didn't cry, but I did genuinely have tears in my eyes. So overall, I just want to quickly say, this score, well done, because this score is super, super creative, and it's super well put together. It's evident that they've worked on the show, they didn't rush this show, and everything about the score is just, excluding the opening number, on par. Quickly to talk about the story before I get into the rest of the review. The story is pretty simple. It's about a group of Broadway vets who, I don't want to say they're washed up, but they're kind of trying to improve their image, and therefore they go on this like trip to improve the life of another individual, but in the hopes of improving their lives and the kind of persona people have about them and the image around them. And with that, they go to Indiana to help this lesbian girl. So they go to Indiana to help this girl who wants to bring her girlfriend to prom, but then the PTA get involved, they try to cancel the prom, and then obviously the vets, Broadway vets, are like, let's put this prom back together. That's essentially the story, and so they come about putting this prom back together. This story though, and the book, I gotta talk about the book a second. Chad Begunin does the book, and oh my goodness, This book is arguably the funniest book I've ever seen. It's really geared towards Broadway, fans of Broadway, people who know Broadway, but there is a lot of genuine hilarious moments in the show. But for me as a Broadway fan, there was so many jokes in the show where I felt like a lot of maybe regular theatre goers might not pick up on unless you're like really clued in, or maybe like a tourist who's coming along and just want to see a fun show. Like there's a lot of jokes, inside jokes, that are fantastic for people who are a fan of Broadway, but overall the book is so funny. And I couldn't determine, did I think the book by Tina Fey from Mean Girls was funnier? Because undeniably this show is going to get compared to Mean Girls a lot, because Casey Nicholaw directed both, similar kind of target audience, and the story is based around a lot of teens. And I was like, which book is funny? And upon seeing Mean Girls for a fourth time and The Prom for a second time, I was like, no, The Prom is genuinely a funnier book. Believe it or not, I just think it's so funny. The story again is it's original, and I really hope that people are always complaining, oh my god, we get a lot of, you know, movie to stage translations, or we get a lot of jukebox musicals, and everyone's always crying out for original musicals. And then when you get original musical, people feel the need to pick it apart, and it's like you're calling and screaming out for more original musicals like this. This is an original musical. People need to get behind this. The choreography by Casey Nicholaw, my god, I genuinely think this is his best work. I must say Casey Nicholaw did a fantastic job directing and choreographing, did I say that right? Choreographing Mean Girls. He did a fantastic job, and I was like, okay, he's done a great job here. You know, he might not be able to top it with The Prom, but my goodness, The Prom choreography is insane, and it can only be adequately performed by the equally talented ensemble cast and cast in general. But Casey Nicholaw, I must say, did a fantastic job directing the show as well as choreographing this, and it would hurt me so much if this does not get the recognition at the Tony Awards, which is like several months away. I know that, but obviously this is the current season where everyone's kind of looking at the production saying what's going to get nominated, what's going to win. The choreography by Casey Nicholaw is so good, particularly during the number Tonight Belongs to Us. There's like a couple of dance breaks in that, and it's just, with the music and the way it builds, it's just fantastic. I'm going to talk about the cast next, which is kind of led, why am I sitting like this? I'm going to talk about Caitlin Kinnunen first, I hope I pronounced her name correctly, who plays Emma in the show, who's like the female protagonist, who is the girl in high school who, you know, the PTA are stripping the prom away from. She is fantastic. I think she's super endearing. I think she's really cute. She can hit some really nice notes. She's a nice actress. She's quirky. She perfectly fits the role. I have zero qualms with her. Go Caitlin. Then we have Beth Leaves, however you pronounce her name, I don't care, because all I can say is this woman needs a Tony nomination for this role. She kills it as Dee Dee. She is so funny. Her number in the show, as the ladies improve, and she hits it out of the park. When you're watching her on stage, all I could imagine, both times I saw the show, I was like, this woman needs a Tony nomination for this role in particular. The entire cast are genuinely killing the show. I also like how each of the four kind of main adult leads, how they all get a number in the show. I think that's really good. It really gives them an opportunity to shine. I also want to give a shout out to Isabel McCallum. Isabel plays Alyssa, and I think she's fantastic. I adore her voice. I think her and Caitlin work so well together. The chemistry is fantastic together. I told you from the start this is going to end up being a love letter, because I cannot speak highly enough about this show. It's just so good. Please see this show. So I've seen this show twice. I think it's one of these shows where, for me, it was an opportunity for me to see part of how I grew up put on a Broadway stage, and for an audience to see. Watching this show, obviously because it's based around an LGBT teenager who is trying to figure stuff out in her life, and she's trying to just be treated equally as her peers. And for me, watching that, I could not help but feel like that was me up on stage. I understand she's a girl, but at the end of the day, I still went through very similar experiences growing up. So after seeing the show for a second time, truthfully, this is my favorite show, new production in well over a year or so. Like, I highly would recommend anyone go see this show. If you want a really good time, if you want to laugh, if you want to feel something, if you want to have a bit of a cry, go see the show, because truthfully it has all these all tied up, wrapped up nicely with this cute little wee, what are those things called? Oh, with a cute little wee bow on top. Oh my god, just go see this show. I cannot recommend it enough. I've had 2 fantastic experiences at the show. I got to go backstage afterwards. Another Josh Lamon who's in the show, who again kills it in his role. He's a phenomenal actor. I've seen him a couple of times before. He's so graciously offered to take me and my friends backstage. It's just such a nice cast. Everybody's working like such a family, and they're really giving it their all out there. I really hope that this season, this show, The Prom, is just a choo-choo train that could, and I hope it really picks up the audience that it deserves. Because this show, honestly, deserves to be on Broadway right now, because the story it tells is something that needs to be heard by all. Anyways guys, hope you enjoyed that quick review. I'll see you guys next time. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Y'all can follow me on social media, which I posted a little while ago. Go see The Prom. It's great. It'll make you feel all the feels. Go bring your friends and family. Bye.